Good morning, Cohort 2, and happy Halloween! Welcome to your Tuesday tune-in for today, October 31st, 2023. I cannot believe November is here already. Personally, I have a freshman that's almost done with her first semester of college. My oldest now is in a real job, and life is just passing me by fast. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. We are here at an important point. We're getting close to that midway point of the course, and our next due date often points to that because it's the module that's next. I wanted to take a moment here with you and talk to you about Module 3, which was the module that was due on Sunday. I am seeing some really good couple of things, right? First, the discussions on point. Love seeing your letter to your bestie or something that you've come out with in those particular assignment where we talked about, reflecting on those principles. I want you to notice that sometimes I went in this time, instead of doing feedback inside the grading confines, I actually replied to your post. So for some of you, I didn't do it for everybody because it's time consumptive, but I wanted to kind of do a smatter and give you an example how you can do it. But I led with a meme. I hope you like it. You've probably seen it. It's the I love this post meme, which is a horse with its head on a fence post. I really think that memes can add a little bit of levity, but at the same time engagement to your course, and when used appropriately. In this case, nothing is more wholesome than a happy looking horse with its head on a fence post saying, I love this post. It can be used for example, discussion posts or journal entries in my mind. But you'll note that I did reply to some of you with that as my feedback. So good with that. Then the course images. We had some folks having fun in the courses so far. Really good to see those in there. I tried to, when I could, kind of give you some kind of play on words of what your image was. Some of you might want to go back and look at the instructions and follow up with how those instructions say to do the assignment. That way you can get full credit. I've reached out to you individually in case you have any question, but definitely you might want to look at that. So with the journal reflection of this one on the elements of design, I'm always amazed, I always gain insight from folks' personal experiences around UDL and when they were first exposed to it, or how they were exposed, how it impacts their teaching practice going forward. And again, some great entries so far. You'll find that when I'm grading journals in this particular cohort, or when we grade the journals in this particular cohort, we've leveraged a rubric. A rubric is a really helpful tool for any instructor because it helps cut down on the need to be so effusive or verbose in your feedback, right? Because you've already set up the rubric. The rubric is like feedback in advance. Because students can see the rubric before, but also when they go back to look at how they scored, they can see how you rank them in each criteria. And that's important. So I think you'll find when you've got courses full of lots of people, a good best practice on assignments is to leverage a rubric. That way it cuts down on the amount of direct feedback you can give. I always encourage you to give direct feedback. But I also want to keep mindful that we are human beings that like to have a little extra time on our hands to do something other than work ourselves to death. So a feedback tool or a rubric is a great tool to help you decrease the amount of feedback that you'll have to give because it's right there built in the rubric. Now, on the front end, it does take some work, right? Now, with the advent of the AI assistant, it cuts down on some of that work. We still need to go in and put our eyes on it and make sure it's what we want it to be. But that rubric tool is beneficial. So you'll note that for the journal entries, that's what we're using. So you can go into your feedback and check exactly where you fell on the criterion. So I hope you enjoyed that. So looking ahead, right now you'll see on our course, and I'm going to zoom in one more notch here just to get a little closer for you. And then I'll zoom back out in a little bit. But looking at what's coming up, Module 4 is student learning outcomes. This is one of those things that not all of us were taught how to do. depending upon your discipline, they may not invested lots of time into this particular part and parcel of the educational experience. Now, I like this unit because it helps me to think about what I'm designing for when I think about my courses. So designing with the end in mind, right? Thinking about where I want my students to be at the end of the course helps paint the picture of how my course needs to be put together. So these outcomes, when I first started writing them, I did the whole, student will be able to know, student will be able to learn. And like, those aren't exactly measurable. How do you measure knowing or learning, right? So the challenge here in this unit is thinking about, what action words are more like define, analyze, debate, illustrate, words that can actually be measured. So look through this unit. I hope it speaks to you. You'll find and I referenced this in your course outline assignment, but one of my favorite things about objectives is they're not only course objectives, they're unit level objectives that you can help students remind why they're doing what they're doing. And you can layer those wherever you want them to be, right? At the beginning of a module, you can put them in your course outline. You can even put them in an assignment to remind the student, hey, you're here because this is what you're going to get out of this, right? And that's completely up to you. But I say all that to say that your outcomes assignment is due this Thursday. And I hope you'll get through this week. You've got a workbook, the replies that are due for the elements of design discussion. So if you haven't already replied, and then your SLOs, right? The actual ones that we want you to put in the course. Obviously, the module check-in. Sunday, the 5th, you've got multimedia. This is one of my favorite modules because I love using media in my courses, as you can tell by these Tuesday tune-ins, right? We have some pretty good instructions for you on your welcome video assignment. So make sure to pay attention to those. If you have a technical issue with that assignment for Sunday, reach out to our support desk. Some of you are having an issue getting Kaltura to work. That's when you call our support desk. They can walk you through that problem. If you just want to know how to do it better and the video that we added to it and the instructions aren't there for you, go to our training page and sign up for a one-on-one session, and we'll get with you one-on-one. Or just email facdev, F-E-C-D-E-V, at shsu.edu, and we'll do some one-on-one to make sure you feel comfortable in that particular arena. So that's multimedia. That's what's due Sunday. And in there you've got your self-assessment workbook. Obviously, you've got a journal, and then the welcome video. So obviously the module check-in, that one question quiz. But that's what's coming up then. So that's where we've been and a little bit about where we're going. So now I'm going to show you your tip or your trick of the trade, so to speak. So you'll note in this course, I have it set up so you can't get to one module until you finish something. I'm going to show you how you do that in the environment we all know as Blackboard Ultra. So I'm going to go to just a quick course. Let's call it Music Theory 1. And I'm going to show you how you can gatekeep or promote students knowing that they've done everything in a module, right? So a couple things while I'm here. I'm going to show you, here I've got 2 modules. And what I want to do is I want to make it so my students complete this module before they can even access this module, right? So how do I do that? How do I set that up? Well, one of the first things that I'm going to do is I'm actually, as a best practice, I'm going to go ahead and edit my learning module and force my sequence, because I really want to make sure my students go through it in order, like you do in the cohort, right? So that they know that they've done that thing because there's a check mark next to it, right? All the way straight through. You don't have to do this. That's completely up to you, right? But I'm going to do it for both of my modules, and I'm going to change both of this for sequence. You don't have to, again, but that's what I'm doing. Now, so if you look in here under Introduction to Music Fundamentals, just pretend that there's other content, right? There's things they need to read, there's activities they need to do, and then I've got some kind of quiz at the end. In this case, I'm calling it a module check-in. Just a 1-question quiz where I ask them, hey, I have read, watched all the module content and submitted all module activities, right? So, and then there's a true and false answer, the correct answer being true. Now, I'm going to go down to my second module. This is the one that I want them to not be able to see until this module here. is complete, right? So how do I do that? Well, I go to where it says visible to students. It's kind of hidden in a way, but if I click to where it says visible to students, I have hidden from students and then release conditions. What conditions do I want to make them have to jump through? What hoops do I want to make them have to jump through before they can actually see this particular module? So I'm going to choose release conditions. It then brings up a window, right? And those it starts by me saying select members. So I could make this contingent upon being in a group or a specific member. In this case, that's not it. I want them a performance-based measure, right? So I'm going to choose leave all members there, and I'm going to go performance. I want them to do a specific thing or make a specific score. So I'm going to click performance, and it says, okay, Jacob, what item are you wanting to perform this thing to? So I'm going to choose, if I had lots of modules, I have to go to my specific module check-in. Naming would be important. I wouldn't want to name them all module check-ins. It'd have to be like music fundamentals check-in or module 1 check-in or whatever might be there. So I'm going to choose module check-in. Then grade requirement must be, and I'm going to choose 9 points or higher simply because it's a 10-point question. So, and it's going to hit that 10 anyway. Then, when will content appear? So this is a big one. I'm going to choose to hide it. So students will not see Module 2 until they complete the quiz. I could choose show and they just couldn't access it, right? It hides the picture, I think, if I remember correctly. That's a bug. In the future, the picture will be shown. But it still shows the module when they go to click on it. It says, you haven't done the thing. So that's why I like to choose hide and have it go away. So I'm going to hit, so what I did is I went to visible to students. I chose release conditions. I then came and chose performance. Chose, before they access rhythm and meter, they have to do the module check-in in Introduction Music Fundamentals. And they have to score a certain amount of points. And then I'm going to hit save. So now, when I go to preview this bad boy, you're going to see that all they see is this one. And because I did 4 sequence, they get the nice start button and the tracking thing that happens here, which I just love. And no excuse for where they need to start, right? So anyway, they would need to then go in and do this thing to see the next one. But I'm going to take the extra step since I'm here and show you, okay, well, Jacob, how did you do the thing where in the cohort you made it so the most recent module was on top? How did you do that? Well, I simply take the most recent module or the second module and drag it to be on top of the first module. Then, because it's there, they then go back to student preview. They still only see the first module, right? So that student then goes in to the module, reads through all the content, and then does the thing, right? So I have read, watched all the module content, but all this, true. And submit. Yes. I'm going to close it. Now, because it did that, the new one shows up right on top of it. Ta-da! That's how release conditions work, right? I could do them by date, right? I don't necessarily have to do them by performance. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to hit exit, save. So maybe I want to release them. I want to give each module a little bit of time to marinate before I release the next one. Or maybe I do 2 at a time, whatever I want. So I can actually go in, change the release conditions from, hit cancel, to this first one, right? Here's that first one, hit release conditions. And currently it was set to date and time, but I'm going to choose performance. I'm going to choose date and time. And I can choose to show on a certain date. And then I can even choose to hide it, but I generally don't hide it because I want them to still have access to it, right? But I may open up the module a week earlier than it would come. But still, they always see the most current one on top because I made the second one, the most current one, show up there, or not. That's up to you. But I hope this release conditions that I'm showing you here is something that might or might not benefit you. I think about these maybe if you're going to gamify your course, right? Depending upon what they choose, have it, depending upon the quiz that they choose, right? So let's say you offer 2 separate quizzes, and if they choose a path that opens up this one quiz, it opens up a completely different module that they wouldn't have had access to, right? Based upon, it's kind of almost like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. Anyway, grading becomes a little more difficult then, because you'll have to figure out exactly, you might just want a certain amount of points as the 100 for them. But all that being said, there's lots of options there. Reach out to your instructional designer for ideas around that. But if you want to know how to do this and you need a little bit more time with it other than watching this video, feel free to reach out to us. facdev@shsu.edu, or you can always just go to the email that I send you that has those wonderful sign up for this email that I send you. You can go to the top of that page and there's a by appointment session, and I can sign up for a one-on-one on anything, not just release conditions. But all right, well, I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a good rest of your week. Remember, this is a journey we're all on together. I'm not going to take away your birthday if you're a little late on stuff. Don't stress there. Just know that we want you to succeed, and I hope you have a good, happy Halloween. If you are a parent, make sure to get that parent tax in on some of that candy, and good luck this week.